Always good to have you.
Thanks, man. It's great to be here.
Well, hi, everybody. It is Star Trek Tuesday, and that means it is time for the main viewer, or as I like to call it, how many times can we mess up Muhammad? I can already think of one. Watch this. Hey, Muhammad, so good to have you on the show again.
Oh, no. What show is it? Oh, no. Which one will be on Virtual TrekCon's the main viewer? I was ready to
Nailed it. Nailed it. Muhammad 1, Ryan 0. So
well, I think Ryan's got a lot from the past.
Today, everybody, we've got a lot to talk about. The writer's strike. It's affecting everything. It affects all of the news, either directly or indirectly, peripherally, or whatever the opposite peripherally would be, directly in front. I don't know. We also have more news, the Star Trek Section 31 movie, a little bit more information on Legacy as well. Also something interesting to talk about. The last writer strike that affected Star Trek directly was in 1988. So let's talk about that for a while and what gems came from that. You guys didn't know that writer strikes actually do some really good things with regards to episodes. So stay tuned for that. We also have Twitter is ablaze with Star Trek people. So there's a lot to talk about there. And let's see, what else is there? Strange New Worlds. There's a lot of information about that, like, is season 3 of Strange New Worlds being delayed? Reports are that yes, production is being delayed, but is season 2 being delayed, as some people have been questioning? We'll talk about all this stuff and more, maybe, right here on the main viewer right now. We have a very special guest right now. Mr. John Orchiola of Screen Rant is here, back of the head.
Hello.
And some people right now just said, did he just say back of the head? What the heck does that mean? That's his Twitter handle, at back of the head. Also his YouTube handle, at back of the head. Melissa Longo is also here. Right when she popped on, I thought we were matching, but Muhammad's keen eye noticed that we are not.
But we are, in a sense, as far as color and wording.
She is wearing the Ferengi family shirt from the Star Trek and Chill online store that you can purchase right now at the link in the description box below. It's got the entire Ferengi family, the entire kind of, but there is also the entire Ferengi family also available, not just that one, but the extended family, Extendomatic. And I've got the Cisco family here, the entire Cisco family. Yeah. Even the baby, even baby Cisco right here.
I love that Joseph's in it too.
Yes. Oh man, that's my favorite. This guy right here. Don't tell Sarah. By the way, my name is
make the Odo family, where it's just a bunch of goop.
The Jello family. My name is Ryan T. Husk. Everybody. Oh, Muhammad is wearing a cool shirt. Where'd you get that one?
I got this from Walking Art Made by Melissa, which is now available at theintrovertedrepublic.com. So check it out. There's a whole bunch of awesome wares there.
That's a lot of syllables. Totally worth it. And lastly, of course, John Orchiola is wearing an awesome Star Trek Prodigy by Paramount Plus sweater. Or is that a sweatshirt? Sweater? Long sleeve shirt?
It's a sweatshirt, I would call it. As you pointed out, it's very warm on the inside.
You know, we should do, John. We should each wear that shirt that you're wearing, that sweater, but on different days, and we'll just tell people that we just have one shirt that we keep passing back and forth. That's what my friend Darth Shuey and I used to do to our other friend, Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. We each had a cool Neil Diamond shirt. Neil Diamond, of course, is the correct answer. And we would wear it on opposite days oftentimes. And we told Michael that we just had the one shirt. And I was like, yeah, we just pass it back and forth. And then he was like, don't you guys wash it? And we're like, nah, not really. And, I made the joke that sometimes it would stand up by itself after a while. And we just kept joking about it For years, it went on. For years, he believed it. And then one day we both wore it just to do the big reveal. We both wore our respective shirts, and he finally understood that we were lying to him.
Wait, are you saying you invented the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
Oh,
I don't know what that means, but
You don't know what that means?
Kind of. Except for the Brotherhood of Traveling Shirts.
It's a group of 4 friends, I believe, in Greece. It was a movie that came out maybe 15 years ago. Blake Lively, some other people.
America
And it's like,
Ferrera.
yeah, and they just traded a pair of jeans between them. And I think
Amber
the jeans
Tamblyn.
changed size magically. I'm not sure how that worked.
Well, it was the jeans fit. They were the same size but they fit the woman that was wearing it differently. So somehow it fit each woman and was there when the pants needed. The person who was wearing the pants needed the pants.
you guys, right now, Muhammad is really pissed off. He's like, I can't, this is not, I rushed over here from dinner and I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
He's trying to figure out the science of the size changing pants.
Well, real quick, let's acknowledge the people in the live chat before we get into all of this news, and then we're jumping into it hot and heavy. Jenny R. Johnson says, hooray, Orchiola. I bet she means John. Mona says, hi, back of the head. BL says, hi, Chuck and Linda. Also, Dave Gregory is here. Chuck A. Faith Howell, of course. Aaron is here. Linda Anderegg, I think I mentioned. Donnie Pearson is here. DJ Kitty Cat. Everybody, DJ Kitty Cat was repping this cool Star Trek and Chill store at the DNI Con over the weekend. Somebody caught the shirt in the background and we're like, we know who that is. Well done, DJ Kitty Cat. Matt Boardman is also here, who made this background in like, I think it was, what was it, 14, 15 seconds? Something like that. It was pretty weird. He's pretty quick. Pat B. All right. Jenny R. Johnson says, traveling pants for life, baby. We got to move on from the traveling pants. I would love to talk about that the whole time.
I know my audience.
But Muhammad is texting me right now saying, change the subject.
No, not texting that.
Google traveling pants.
Yeah. No, I've heard of the book and the movie, but I've never seen it.
All right. So enough screwing around. I just really love this shirt. This is actually my first time wearing it. And I'm very pleased with it because it's such a beautiful family. And just looking at it makes me happy. It just gives me joy. Maybe it's just to see them all together because we've never seen that before. We've seen bits and pieces of them together, but we've never seen them all in one space.
And I love that Benjamin and Joseph kind of encapsulates the entire family. It kind of makes it feel whole on the end, that they're on the ends. I don't know. It's nice. Very nice.
I love it. It's a JJ Lendl creation. All right, you can get those shirts in the description box below. The link will be there, Star Trek and Chill, and Melissa's goodies. You can find them at theintrovertedrepublic.com, lest we forget.
Also,
all right,
in person at the Vegas convention, if you come, you might be able to get one right there on the spot. We're at the same day.
We're going to be spamming people about Vegas any day now. You know we will, whether we want to or not. That's all we're going to talk about. All right. So first things first, everybody. Oh, also big Star Trek news. The reason I'm wearing this shirt, possibly the same reason Melissa's wearing this shirt, the Cisco Day. The Cisco Day is nigh. It is 13 days away, really 12 and a half. Monday, May 22nd is the first Cisco Day ever. It's going to have live shows and events. Everybody in town is going to be there. You're going to love it. And the Cisco and the Ciscos deserve it. So it's going to be a great time. In fact, let's tell everybody right now, if you would like a message added to the Cisco wall on the Cisco website for the Cisco himself to actually read, go ahead and email what you would like to say to him 2, checks notes, theciscoday@gmail.com. Email theciscoday@gmail.com. And if there's something you've always wanted to say to Mr. Brooks, to the emissary, to Benjamin Sisko, email it, and we will put it up on the Cisco wall, or the wall of the Cisco, on the Cisco website. And he will see it theoretically and read it and know your innermost feelings that you've always wanted to tell him. That's the ciscoday@gmail.com. Here's the caveat. Please keep it to 2 or 3 sentences.
And nice too.
Well, yeah, man, we're not going to put on if it's not nice.
Yeah.
But we don't want to cut what you've written. So please self-edit 2 or 3 sentences. If you make it 15 sentences, it's going to cut off in the middle of your 3rd sentence. Sorry, the Cisco wills it. Not really. All right. So do that. It's going to be really cool. And it will be unveiled in less than 2 weeks. Matt Boardman is sweating right now. On that website. All right. Let's get to the big news, the writer's strike. First things first, here it comes. This is from a website called screenrant.com. And the writer is John, help me out here. John Orchiola.
I can't say that name.
I can't say that name.
Coincidentally, it's entitled Strange New Worlds Season 3 Delayed. How Writers' Strike Affects Star Trek. Strange New Worlds Season 3 production is on hold during the WGA's writer's strike, which affects other Star Trek shows and movies as well. It's got a picture of Captain Pike being pretty sad about things.
Yeah.
Mohammed, would you like to read a little bit for us?
Should I read it or should John read it? I mean, it's his words, actually.
No. It'll come so much better from you.
Oh, you're sweet. Come on. All right. Production of Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 has been delayed because of the writer's strike. Strange New World Season 2 is set to premiere on Thursday, June 15th on Paramount+. The cast and crew were scheduled to begin production on Strange New World Season 3 on May 2nd in Toronto. However, the Writers Guild of America, or WGA, has gone on strike to fight for better terms for its members over issues such as streaming residuals and the threat of AI replacing writers. This has impacted not only Strange New World Season 3's production, but the filming of other Star Trek series as well.
Yeah.
Very nice. So this article is actually a kind of a condensed version of a couple of bigger articles that came out about this, which is one from Trek Central, and then another one from TrekMovie.com, our friends over there, who did a very big roundup last week of how the writer's strike will affect pretty much every Paramount show and the non-existent Star Trek 4 movie.
Yeah.
But basically, yes, the Strange New World Season 3 production was supposed to begin on May 2nd, which is the same day the strike began. And so there are no writers on set. They're not allowed to be. So they delayed production for it and indefinitely, just as pretty much every show and movie is currently delayed.
Now, John, can we ask you, because some people are going to say, well, now hang on. Season 3 theoretically is done being written, or maybe it's not, but maybe the first few episodes are done being written or something like that. Why would they stop production on shooting those first few episodes if those episodes are written?
I believe it's because the nature of the Star Trek shows would have a writer or more, the showrunner on set, because of the nature of the show, things evolving, dialogue having to be rewritten, scenes having to be restructured depending on how these things are shot. Star Trek shows are very, very complicated to make. So rather than attempt to do that without the writers on set and to show solidarity with the writers with WGA, they halted production. So we know like our friend Bill Walkoff is on the picket line every day.
Flying Lobster, right?
Flying Lobster, yeah.
That is
and
at
some other people.
Flying Lobster on Twitter. He is posting a lot or tweeting a lot of things and a lot of updates. And he was even on the local news being interviewed about the writer's strike, which is really cool. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, and and also Tawny Newsome, who is now a member of the Writers Guild of America. She's on the writing staff of Starfleet Academy. So even though she voices Mariner on Strange New Worlds, she is on the picket line as well, fighting for her and her colleagues' rights as a new writer to the WGA.
Right. So yeah, everybody at home, just picture this. You remember how many times you've heard the story of an actor saying, hey, this line doesn't really work for me. Can we change the line? And then everybody says, well, stop everything. We got to call upstairs, or we got to call the writers and the producers, who are basically the same people, and ask them. And they say, we'd like to change the word, in Muhammad's case, to or of in vice provost title. So
or for.
Of or for, it's very confusing. So that would be a question, and the writer producer would say, sure, that's fine, or no, because so and whatever. You see, that very tiny thing is an example of writing, even when the script is already completed. So for that kind of reason, and I'm sure several others, including what John just said, having the writers strike, even if the scripts are done, still can and is halting production because of those reasons. And obviously the writers are on set when they're shooting. They're doing it as producers, but they're still producers that are referencing their writing. So it's kind of a gray area there, but looks like they've drawn a line in the sand, and it seems like all production is halting except for the animated ones. Is that correct, John?
Yes, yeah. The animated shows are under a different contract. It's TAG. The abbreviation is TAG. I don't remember what the full name of it is, but their contract is going to come up and bump up against this issue, the same as the Directors Guild, same as the Screen Actors Guild. It's all going to kind of coalesce at some point. But right now, yes, Lower Decks and Prodigy, as I understand it, are still in production because they are not affected by this particular writer's strike.
Right. It's a different guild. Yeah.
I was just thinking that would be really funny if we had Muhammad's chat GPT write like an opening monologue for me on this show, and people would know right away, like they would be like, that's not Ryan, that's way too smart, or whatever.
I'm totally gonna pull that up right now and see what
do it, because sometimes you do like a chat GPT thing and you're like, well, it's using the correct words, but it feels so weird. It's not really smooth. Here, let's test that out. I'll send this over to you here, Muhammad.
Well, and if the writers nowadays are anything like the writers back in the day, the actors would still get pages day of shooting that would be color coded, that would change scenes around. And so the writing doesn't stop once the full script is done. It evolves and changes as production commences.
So also, before we go back to the article, I saw some people asking online, some people were very concerned and in a panic, and they asked, wait a minute, this is going to delay Strange New Worlds season 2. And I think that we can go ahead and dispel that, because it's shot, it's edited, it's done, it's uploaded to Paramount Plus or whatever. Like, that thing is in the can. Maybe
in the can.
Maybe late episodes, it's possible. Maybe episodes 9 and 10, there could be some last minute things, but I would guess that it's all completely good to go, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, Strange New Worlds was produced. I think they wrapped production in June of 2022 or July of 2022. They've had a year. So yeah, as you said, those episodes are in the can. I can't imagine they'll be changed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Want me to read that intro?
No, I want to try to read it right here and see if people. So everybody at home, if I didn't tell you that this was something from Chat GPT that Mohammed pulled up for us.
We can see what the prompt was too. What the input was.
Yeah, the input was write an opening monologue for Star Trek News podcast.
Yep.
So if we didn't tell you this, would you be able to tell that this was not in my own words? I'm not going to change anything. I haven't looked at it. I'm just going to read it like a weatherman. Here we go. Welcome, fellow space explorers, to the latest episode of the Star Trek News podcast, where we bring you the latest developments and updates from the final frontier. I'm your host, ChatGPT, and it's my honor to guide you through the ever-expanding universe of Star Trek. From the outer reaches of the Alpha Quadrant to the uncharted territories of the Delta Quadrant, we'll cover everything from the latest discoveries by the Federation to the daring missions of our intrepid crew members aboard the USS Enterprise and beyond. Join me as we dive deep into, wouldn't it be dive deeply? Join me as we dive deep into the latest news, interviews, and behind-the-scenes stories from the creative minds who have helped shape the Star Trek franchise into the cultural phenomenon it is today. So sit back, relax, and engage your warp engines as we embark on another exciting adventure into the vast and wondrous universe of Star Trek.
Oh, that was really good. Good job. Both
Yeah,
of
right.
you.
Especially from that very, very short intro, right? Or
I'm
like
your
all-
host, ChatGPT.
I love that.
Maybe that should be a bit that we do at the end where people in the live chat can ask us to put something into Chat GPT. Muhammad will type it in, and I got to read it at the end of the episode. It could be like, what is Mariner's favorite vegetable? It could be, what really pisses off Captain Pike. It could be, what's the real reason that Discovery was because it might actually know the real reason, so it has to be something hypothetical. But something fun like that. That might be a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I will say that for trivia, it's not very good at all. Like if you ask it trivia things, it'll come up with answers, but they're often wrong. Very, very often wrong.
Often
Because
wrong soon.
Yeah, there you go. Mostly because if you think the PT in ChatGPT is just predictive text, so it's just like what is a next word from this sentence kind of thing. So it's not based on what is true. It's just based on like what is a common next thing to say after this. So
Wayner asks, and I was thinking the same thing just an hour ago or so. Wayner asks, I wonder if this means Discovery season 5 will end up airing before Strange New World season 3, since it's pretty much done now. Oh, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking, I wonder if this means Discovery season 5 is also delayed a bit.
For the first question, Discovery season 5 was always going to air before Strange New World season 3, because I mean, Discovery season 5 is wrapped except for the finale, which they are reshooting or adding scenes to.
Well,
And I
they've
don't
already
understand.
finished.
yeah, I think they did that last week.
They wrapped last week.
Or the week
Fantastic.
before last.
Or-
The last
I
week
think
of
they
April.
said they only
They-
shot like 3 days or something like that, right?
It was like the
Yeah,
26th
it
to
was
28th
really-
of April.
Quick turnaround.
So
But-
so it's still on tap for the 2024 premiere.
But will they be halting even post-production, because editing is also in its own way kind of rewriting stuff, I think that's mostly going to be directors and editors that are handling that kind of stuff, but I wonder if that also gets halted.
Well, there is 7 months between now and 2024. There's probably plenty of time. We don't know how long the strike's going to last. Hopefully it'll be resolved relatively soon, and then everybody can get back to work, and with better terms.
Yes.
But I would say there's very little danger of Discovery being so far off in 2024 being delayed at this point anyway.
All right. Let's see.
I like Mavorello's comment. I didn't really like it. I like Brian's silly shtick instead. It's awesome.
It wasn't meant to be silly.
Aw.
I know. All right. So let's continue on with this fun information brought to you by our friend, John Orchiola. Oh, let's see. No, you did. The next thing you do is you cite Trek Central, which you just did. Let's see what this does for us here. Mohammed, if you will please us.
Strange New World Season 3, complete production in 2022. So the next 10 episodes will stream on Paramount Plus as scheduled, starting June 15th. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4 scripts were locked months ago, and production on that series should continue so that the hit animated comedy can make its late summer premiere. Star Trek's 2 animated shows, the other being Star Trek Prodigy, are covered by the Animation Guild. There we go, there's TAG contracts. So production on those series can continue, although the same issues facing the WGA will eventually come to bear with TAG, the Screen Actors Guild SAG, and the Directors Guild of America DGA. A lot of G's and A's in there.
Yeah,
So if you like
Guilds of
acronyms,
America.
everybody, we've got you covered.
Join show business if you love acronyms.
Lots of guilds and lots of America.
Yeah.
And the one for the
screen-
studios, what's that one like? ATMT
it's
TPA.
long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not as cute. I like the the unions that are like SAG and TAG. They're like cute little things,
So with the Animators Guild, that one doesn't have America in it. Is it international? Or is it just not mentioned America?
I don't know. Is our good friend Aaron Welke in the chat? He can answer that.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I'm assuming it's just
SAG
America.
doesn't say. It's just
Oh, that's true.
Screen
SAG doesn't
Actors
either.
Guild.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Studio
SAG doesn't
Actors
either.
Guild.
Does SAG have people not in the United States or not in North America?
No.
There is a British guild. I know that
It's separate.
for
Bag.
yes. It's called something different, and I'm
And Canada
blanking
is
on it.
CAG, CAG. Now, anybody that speaks French, actually, our good friend Lisa Mackey in the live chat, she's in Montreal, so she might know the French slang that CAG means, CAG, although the French call it CAG, slightly different than CAG. CAG. It means to crap, basically. So we'll just move on from that.
Wow.
Fun word to say. CAG.
But the Screen Actors Guild has sent out emails saying that they are in negotiations with the Producers Guild as well, and there is a potential for them to strike in mid-June. So
The producers?
Screen Actors Guild.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So if they coincide, then that will just mess everything up.
So we're just bringing up this cool radical poster
I like it.
that
I
can be
love that
found
poster.
on StarTrek.com. Everybody, look, there's an Enterprise little tip, and here's the shadow. It's beautiful. The reason we want to show you this real quick is just to, first of all, point out StarTrek.com. Everybody go check out StarTrek.com. You probably haven't in a while, and you should, but also because whoever made this poster doesn't have to go back and change this bottom that says streaming June 15th. Strange New Worlds, new season streaming June 15th. It's still June 15th, everybody. Nobody has to redo the poster.
Unless they push it back a full year, which would be terrible.
All right. So what is next on our agenda? Well, the question is about the writer strike. Look, the last time there was the writer strike, it was what, 2007 to 2008. There was no Star Trek at that time, right? Well, no, Enterprise was just finishing, wasn't it?
It
Or
just
was it
finished.
over?
Enterprise is gone.
Yeah,
Enterprise is
2006.
long gone.
Or 5 or something like that, right?
2005.
5.
And then the new movie was 2009. So this kind of just went right in the cracks. But in 1988,
Oh, yeah.
there was
I
a
remember
writer's
this
strike.
well.
And
Yes.
Star Trek, The Next Generation, was in its second season. And everybody at home is right now saying, wait a minute, isn't that the best season in Star Trek history? Yup, maybe.
Gems in there.
So this is an article from slashfilm.com written by the guitarist for Guns N' Roses.
He does great work.
Yeah.
He loves Star Trek.
Everybody complains. It's all the pentatonic scale with his solos. So what? It sounds great. Anyway, how the 1988 writers' strike led to the worst episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'd like to first, before we even read it, say, told you so. I keep telling everybody this was the worst episode in Star Trek history. And then there's some people that are like, I actually really like that episode.
There's many reasons why it's the worst episode. Even the creators say it was a piece of crap.
It's basically the only one that wasn't written.
Well, if you go to IMDb, it's the one with the lowest score. So that's just an objective thing. Like, people can individually disagree, but collectively, it's got the lowest IMDb score, and it's not even close.
Yeah, by a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'll say at the time, because I remember, like, I'm a little bit older than you guys. I remember at the time, like, that was a thing that would happen in TV shows. Like,
I remember that
often,
too, the clip shows.
Yeah, exactly. There would often be like we're really short on stuff. Let's have this random little clip show. And that was why I was so mad when it first came out. Because I remember watching it as they were like, what? Really? They're gonna do this too? But I wasn't as aware of like the writer's strike that was happening at the time and the reasoning behind it. But yeah, that was definitely a thing in the 80s, the clip show.
Everybody in the live chat, do you remember when you were watching your favorite sitcom and they would all gather around the couch and they would be like, oh no, the power went out. Well, let's get some candles here. Well, Mom, the TV doesn't work. Well, we can just talk about our favorite memories. Okay. Do you remember the time? And it would be a whole episode about, do you remember the time? Oh, that was funny. But it wasn't as bad as the time that, and that was writer's strike stuff.
I still get mad when Wait, Don't Tell Me does this. Every now and then they have the best of Wait, Don't Tell Me. It's like, oh, come on, seriously? They still do that.
We should totally do that one day. This is what we'll do. Is
Best
one day
of the
when we all
viewer.
need the time off, we'll just edit a bunch of clips together and then I'll record like 30 seconds of each of us saying, well, yeah, but do you remember the time that, and then we'll just splice it all together. And then people will be like, wait a second, did ChatGPT just take over the main viewer? All right.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Faith Howell says, I feel like I've seen clip shows even somewhat recently.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I feel like those are going to be way less frequent now that seasons are 6 to 10 episodes.
It's really mad for 6 episodes and one's a clip show. Like, okay.
Yeah. And not standalone, but through arc-based.
Serialized, yeah.
Serialized. That's the word I was looking for. Thanks.
Mohammed, would you like to read this one for us?
Sure. And apologies, Dr. Anne-Marie. I know she's a fan of the show. As all good Trekkies know, Star Trek: The Next Generation got off to a rocky start. As detailed in William Shatner's 2014 documentary, quote, Chaos on the Bridge.
Anne-Marie's also a big fan of that documentary from 455 Films, who are doing the Voyager documentary. Sorry, Mohammed, please continue.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, you should mention about the Voyager documentary soon, about the event coming up in June. Chaos on the Bridge. Next Generation was hotly contested, with various producers and showrunners all vying for control over the project. There was a lot of animosity as a result, and a lot of arguments as to what kinds of scripts would be used. Show creator Gene Roddenberry, according to the film, was insistent that he had control over every facet of the production, as he had been barred from working on the second, third, and fourth Star Trek movies, and wanted to make sure, quote, his baby, end quote, was safe. There were, however, reports that Gene Roddenberry's personal lawyer, Leonard Maislish, was taking completed scripts and rewriting them in secret. Executive producer Rick Berman suspected that the written notes he received from Roddenberry were actually Maislish's doing.
Wow. What
It's
drama.
Kind of
Yeah.
crazy that Law was definitely Maislich's fallback choice.
You guys remember the Fall Guy?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lee
yeah.
Majors.
Not kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with.
They remade it. It's a movie coming out.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's Ryan Gosling or somebody like that.
It better be coming out in the
Oh.
autumn. Mohammed,
Ah.
would you like to hit us next, please?
Sure. Maislish was gone by the start of season 2, but a 1988 writer's strike stymied production, leaving the truncated season on uneasy footing as well. Most Trekkies will agree that The Next Generation didn't hit its stride until its 3rd season. Most seasons of TV ran 26 episodes at the time. Season 2 ran only 22 episodes. Many of the scripts for season 2 were older screenplays that had been initially written for other Trek projects, some of them left over from the original series. Thanks to new budgetary leeway, money could be more freely shifted around between episodes, which allowed for a few more ambitious ideas, like the debut of the Borg. Unluckily, this meant if one episode went over budget, another would have to be shortchanged. The strike, the chaos, and the lack of budget led to what is often considered the worst episode of Star Trek Next Generation, Shades of Grey. The next section is WGA strike of 1988. Some brief history. The 1988 WGA strike was the longest strike in the organization's history, lasting 153 days.
Wow.
The strike was primarily inspired by producers refusing to pay writers residuals on the broadcast of reruns. Because reruns weren't performing well, producers tried to rework contracts based on an unfair percentage model. Writers also wanted to give input on what kinds of actors and directors might be selected for their works and be assured higher budgets for specific projects.
Mhm.
Well, Melissa, Mohammed, John, how long do you think this strike is going to last?
Ooh.
Hopefully not 153 days.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
A long time.
And yeah. And if the Screen Actors Guild does strike, because there are many of the same concerns with SAG as there is with WGA, then I think that might force people's hands a little bit more, because what can be made if the writers and the actors are on strike.
So the 2007-2008 one, is that the one that disrupted the ending of Battlestar Galactica? Because I remember they broke up the 4th season. And released it
I
in
didn't know
chunks.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I remember
that.
also, I don't know if you ever watched Friday Night Lights, which is a great show on NBC, but that strike destroyed season 2, where all of a sudden, like, one of the main characters committed a murder. And
I only watch shows that have
it was ridiculous.
Orville
It was the worst
actors.
season. You want what?
I only watch shows that have Orville actors in them.
Oh.
Friday Night Lights did, though. It had Adrian Palicki, right?
Yes, that's right.
I
it's a
saw the
perfect
first few
role.
episodes. It's really good, actually. It's surprisingly a very good show.
He was in
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too.
Aaron
Yeah.
really liked Friday Night Lights.
Confirmed. Good show.
Good show.
Oh
And the Shield, he liked that too.
yeah.
So, you know what?
Mentioned.
We're going to do a poll about this.
How long it's
Asking
gonna last.
everybody, yes. And remember, the record is 153
Oh,
days.
it said at that time was the one that happened in 2008 longer.
No, the 1988 one is the longest one.
Okay, because in the article it just said that was the longest one at the time, so I wasn't sure if that meant that later ones were longer.
Good point. Yeah.
Hmm.
The one in 2007-8 was, what was it, like 4 months or something like that? So I feel like it was like November to March, something. I don't really remember.
Pretty
But
similar. Just 4 months
Yeah.
is pretty close.
yeah. So let's see what our options will be. We'll say less than 2 months.
Oh,
We'll
BL says
say-
2008 was 100.
Oh.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Oh, wait, which one? It was 200 days?
100.
Well, this is according to BL in the chat. I mean, I don't know if that's right, but he didn't cite a
Could be.
source.
All right, then we will say, we'll just keep it like this. And then, okay, so the options are, okay, the question is, how long will the strike last? The options
say.
are less than 2 months, or 60 to 100 days, 100 to 149 days, which would be up to 5 months, or 150 plus days, so 5 months and more. See a lot of optimists chiming in so far. All right, let's continue with this. Oh boy, this is going to be good stuff, everybody. Right now they're chanting, "We want more shades of gray." Yeah.
I don't think so.
That was Anne Marie leading the chant.
There you go. Yeah. So even the premise for Shades of Grey, which aired July 17th, 1989, I think that's my son's birthday, was
birthday.
thin. Yeah. Commander Riker, Jonathan Frakes, was scratched by an alien thorn while on an away mission. The thorn contained a mysterious virus that attacked Ricker's brain, and he fell into a coma. In order to fight off the virus, Dr. Pulaski, Diana Muldaur, has to stimulate Riker's brain and force him to relive memories. In doing so, viewers were treated to flashbacks to previous episodes, which took up about half the show's running time. There were supposed to be themes of Riker's flashbacks, all his happy memories, all his scariest. They didn't really fall together in a dramatically satisfying way.
Shocking.
Mm.
We would have expected it to be. Okay,
I like that.
here's
I like that verbiage, the dramatically satisfying.
I know. Here's a question for the live chat. Everybody at
I love it.
home, do you remember ever once actually enjoying a clip show? Like one time where there was a clip show in a sitcom or a TV show or whatever, where you're like, actually, that was dramatically satisfying. I was actually enjoyed that show. Let us know. Maybe there's some good ones.
To me, it was mildly tolerable in the Golden Girls because there was always cheesecake involved.
Nice.
They would sit around the kitchen table and eat their cheesecake, and there would be a clip show, but there would be witty banter in between, because all four ladies were awesome.
In the early 90s Simpsons, there were a couple of really good clip shows. Like there was one where Homer was hospitalized, and they just did a clip show based around that. Or there was an April Fool's one where who was it? Either Homer or Bart pulled a prank and exploded the kitchen of the house, and then it just spun off into a clip show. Really good stuff back then. And
Wow.
and that was they were doing clips from the first 2 or 3 seasons of The Simpsons, including the famous one where Homer tried to jump Springfield Gorge. And,
Oh my gosh.
he did, the most famous clip of that early era that put the show on the map, when he just fell down the gorge and then ended up in the ambulance, and the ambulance crashed, and he fell out of the ambulance.
Yes,
back down
that's
the
right.
gorge.
Very good.
Those early years of Simpsons, man, those were amazing.
Yeah.
So let's move on from that article. But you'll be surprised to know it actually covers more of Shades of Grey, and
Yeah,
well, it talks about the actual season 2. Maybe we should finish up on that.
Well, yeah, because there was kind of some interesting nuggets in there that I hadn't realized.
Yeah.
The clips themselves were picked by a PA, and the director had never seen the final cut.
Oh, good old
of
Eric
the
Stillwell.
Oh.
Yeah,
Start at the top?
Yeah, please.
Sure. The strike had ended by July of 1989, but its effects were still being felt. The new accounting also dealt its blow. Elementary Dear Data was set mostly on the holodeck and included period costumes and sets. Q Who features elaborate Borg makeup and Borg ship sets. Those 2 episodes, the rumor goes, drained Next Gen of its coffers, leaving Shades of Grey with nothing. Shades of Grey was a slapdash affair. In Edward Gross and Mark A. Altman's 1993 book, Captain's Logs, The Complete Trek Voyages, The episode's director, Rob Bowman, confessed that he had 2 fewer days to film the episode than most shows, leaving him and the crew on the sickbay set for only 5 days. At the last minute, however, the schedule was shortened to 3 days. If it looks like Sirtis and Moldar are overacting, it's because they too were in kind of panic mode. Bowman said he merely filmed the, quote, wraparound segments and that the flashback clips in question would be selected later by PA Eric Stillwell. Bowman said he never saw the final cut of the episode. By the way, final cut is the Pink Floyd album.
Which is crazy for a director not to see the final cut of something that he worked on. It's nuts.
Totally. Also interviewed in Voyages was season 2 head writer Maurice Hurley, the producer responsible for firing Gates McFadden in the 2nd season. Hurley, who wrote Shades of Grey, understood that it was easily the most terrible episode they had done and called it a piece of asterisk. Hurley was fired at the end of the season and McFadden was promptly rehired. That was a good outcome there.
Well, now hang on a second. If Maurice Hurley was the head writer, right? Head writer.
Mm-hmm.
How did he write Shades of Grey during a writer's strike?
I don't
very
think
confusing.
He did that. It may have been Maislich, since he was writing all of that stuff.
I mean, that's what this article says.
And
It says head writer Hurley, who wrote, quote, Shades of Grey, was easily the most terrible episode they'd. Who knows? Maybe things were different. It was the 80s. People didn't care. They were all coked out.
Yeah, I don't know. But he also wore a producer hat. So I don't know. Maybe that there was a shade of gray in there too.
Ooh,
but
very
it
good.
also did mention that they had pulled old scripts that didn't pass muster for TOS and another Star Trek show that they had intended to put out. So they just used those old scripts. So maybe Maurice wrote that script before the writer's strike, and we're just using it, to fill in.
Mm-hmm. Good point. All right. So up next, everybody. This is where things get really hairy. We're going to move forward to talk about the Section 31 movie. This is from our good friends over at trekmovie.com. It's entitled Shazad Latif, Waiting to Hear About the Star Trek Section 31 TV Movie. Well, now hang on a second. First of all, it says TV movie, which confirms to us that is probably just going to be a Paramount Plus original. It's not going to be out in theaters, except for maybe like a premiere or a screening here or there.
Movie
But
events.
secondly, Shazad Latif is waiting to hear about this. So if they have not, contacted him about it, well, whatever. Let's just read it. I have no idea. I don't know anything about any of this.
Like we asked a lot more questions like, is Mary Chieffo waiting to hear it too? Who is not waiting to hear? So last month, Paramount Plus announced plans to move forward on a new Star Trek Section 31 movie starring Michelle Yeoh. No details were provided on who else would be appearing in the made-for-streaming event. There you go. And one potential co-star is wondering if he will be getting the call. When he was last seen in the season 2 finale of Star Trek Discovery, Shazad Latif's Ash Tyler was being put in charge of Section 31, Starfleet's notorious clandestine intelligence organization. In an interview with the Nerds of Color Pop, his new movie, What's Love Got to Do with It? Latif said he is waiting to find out if he is part of the Section 31 movie. And here's the quote. I haven't heard anything yet. It's down to timelines and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'd love to work with Michelle again. She's a legend in the game, so I love her. I'll always love her. Yeah, we used to go out for lots of great dinners. So hopefully I'll go out to dinner with her again.
I like how there were two song titles in there, basically. There's What's
that.
Love Got to Do with It?
Uh-huh.
And I Will Always, love her.
There's also Notorious.
Very good.
Oh.
Wow, look at us.
All right. Latif's Ash Tyler had been recruited into Section 31 by Michelle Yeoh's Philippa Giorgio. It's a little typo, but that's okay. So he could be a natural fit for the Section 31 movie. In the years since the Section 31 project was first announced as a series, Latif had indicated he could be part of it. Latif's comment about, quote, timelines may be key, as it isn't clear when the Section 31 movie is set within the Star Trek timeline. Ash Tyler was last seen in the 23rd century before Giorgio jumped forward to the 32nd century with the Discovery crew. During Discovery Season 3, Giorgio jumped back in time via the Guardian of Forever, but her destination was left vague. I would actually debate that. We don't know she jumped back in time. We just know she jumped away. For all we know, she jumped forward. Speaking to Bleeding Cool, Latif also noted that he hadn't yet been contacted about the project, and he didn't know if it would, quote, fit into the schedule. The Section 31 movie was initially reported to be set to go into production later this year and to be the first of a series of made-for-streaming Star Trek movies for Paramount+. It is unclear if the WGA strike will have an impact on the schedule.
Huh.
Very interesting.
Interesting.
I wonder how they're going to make money off that. Like just having it on Paramount Plus. You know, that's a lot of money. I mean, these Star Trek productions are expensive. This isn't for people hanging out in a house in 2023. These are spaceships and Klingons and monsters and time travel and explosions. That's a big budget, but clearly they know what they're doing.
It's a big budget.
Paramount releases things weekly, but whereas Netflix, when Netflix has like the new season of Stranger Things, the whole thing drops at once, right? In some sense, you could say that those are more like a movie, right? Because you know, like let's say for example, the last half season of Stranger Things was just this big bloof here, right? and you know, if you put it together, that was like 4 hours of content or something like that. So it clearly can be done, at least in sometimes.
So just to follow up on the Section 31 stuff, this is something that I'm not too sure about, or as Mohammed would say, about which I'm not too sure.
There you go. Yay, grammar.
All right. So this is from our good friends over at CBR.com. This one, I'm not too sure about this one. It says Michelle Yeoh's Star Trek movie could be the Mirror Universe origin. Everyone thinks Michelle Yeoh's Star Trek movie will focus on Starfleet Section 31, but the film might actually be a Mirror Universe origin. I don't know. What do you say, Mohammed?
So this would have to be set before Enterprise to do that then.
They do mention that.
Oh, is it? Okay. I guess I should read it. Star Trek has never been more active, even in the heyday of Next Generation era. The latest development is the first movie led by a Star Trek actor who won an Oscar. Yet Michelle Yeoh's so-called Section 31 movie may actually be the start of the Star Trek Mirror Universe. The Michelle Yeoh-led project has been in the works since Paramount Plus was called CBS All Access. In January 2019, right as the second season premiered, the streamer confirmed that a spin-off series built around her character, Philippa Giorgio, was in development. That season of Star Trek Discovery ended by sending the entire crew, including Philippa, from the 23rd to the 33rd century. Part of the announcement focused on Yeoh's character and her relationship with the clandestine and often villainous Starfleet intelligence group, Section 31. While that organization still existed in the 32nd century, Yeoh's character left the show before the season 3 finale. The storytellers introduced a conceit familiar to fans of Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Philippa Giorgio was dying because she wasn't from the prime reality, but the mirror universe, ruled by an evil version of Starfleet. Her exit also included the return, so to speak, of a character from the original series. This was, of course, the Guardian of Forever. And they had a mission for Philippa that would also save her life.
Okay. John, your thoughts?
Well, that strikes me as a hot take. One actually I hadn't thought of, which is kind of interesting. The idea that it could be the Mirror Universe Section 31. That's actually a pretty novel idea. It sounds to me like a wild guess, but a pretty good one. based in reality, who knows? Probably, maybe not. But it's an interesting idea to explore, and I would be interested in a movie about that. To be honest with you, having just heard that idea.
There's a fan film. It's not New Voyages or Continues. It's one of the other fan films that actually has an origin story for the Mirror Universe, where the cast, it's not like Enterprise, it's some other Starfleet vessel. They go back in time to like George Washington's era, and they mess up something there. And the very last scene is George Washington grabbing this knife and sticking it in an apple, and it looks a lot like that Mirror Universe symbol.
Cool. Hey, that's really clever.
That was very clever.
creative.
Yeah.
What's the fan film
Enterprise
called?
do the origin of the Mirror Universe though, like in A Mirror Darkly, like when they showed Zefram Cochrane meeting the Vulcan and he shoots the Vulcan, and that was the origin of the Mirror Universe.
Right.
Well,
but,
I mean, I don't know. It's
but
necessarily an origin, because I mean they were already like evil or
They
whatever.
were already messed up.
yeah, it could be the origin, like it could be the first divergence, or it could just be a continued ripple effect from George Washington days. Like he could just have shot them because they were already on a darker path.
Yeah.
What was this fan film called?
I can't remember. I mean, it's not a movie. It's actually a series. And that was just one of the episodes in the series.
Well, good for them. That's
I'll see
pretty
if I can
cool.
find it. Let me see if I can find it.
Matt Boardman says Farragut.
That's
Good
the one.
knowledge, Matt
That's
Boardman.
exactly it.
Very good.
Starship Farragut.
Was Farragut, where was Farragut shot? Is that the one that's in Georgia? Was that shot in Georgia before Star Trek Continues?
Yeah, well, maybe. I know Continues was in Georgia. I don't know if Farragut was shot there too.
Continues took over that set from a previous fan film.
So maybe that was
I'm
it.
trying to remember what that is.
Mhm.
How long will the strike last? The poll answers are as follows. 8% of you say 100 to 149 days. 22% of you say 155 plus days, in other words, 5 months or more. 31% of you say 60 to 100 days. And 37% of you, Star Trek fans, the optimists, say less than 2 months. So if we were to say
less than 1 month.
if Star Trek Las Vegas were like the betting odds, before or after Star Trek Las Vegas, that's what, like 82 and change days away, 80 to 85 days away, then most people would say that it's going to be well before. It's going to be basically May or June that it's going to be settled. That would be great.
I saw one of the Star Trek, I think it was one of the Star Trek writers on Twitter, say that they're prepared to take the strike to San Diego Comic-Con if need be.
That's July, right? July 20
Late July.
something.
Yeah, 16 to 20, I think, this year.
Field trip. I think it's cool that they're like, we're going to take this all the way to San Diego Comic-Con. That's how serious we are. I'll believe you're serious if you're like, we're going to take it all the way to Greenland in the winter. And we're going to take it all the way to Burning Man, where everybody's stinky or whatever, in the middle of August in the Nevada desert. My brother goes every year. He's always like, dude, you should come with me. I'm like, wait, you have no running water for 10 days. Boy, I would love to go, but it's not for me. Anyway,
You got a show to run.
Yeah, sorry. Well, it's usually right around the same time as Star Trek Las Vegas anyway.
Even better.
So I'm always like, dude, you should come to Star Trek Las Vegas. He's like, no, you should come to Burning Man. And we're like, okay, bye. We're going to our respective desert locations.
So close, but so far.
Yeah, not gonna happen. Anyway,
Not gonna happen.
yeah, especially not to miss Star Trek Las Vegas. No way. Anyway, so that's a pretty interesting thing. You guys can see the rest of that article at cbr.com.
Yeah.
But
the thing that I got out of it, which made me think it might be interesting, is that maybe it's the origin of Section 31. And maybe the origin of Section 31 happened in the Mirror Universe and was brought over to the Prime Universe.
Wow.
I like it.
yeah, look at us.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of
John's
us
like, I
raised
got
our
an
eyebrows,
article
like-
idea going.
That's very nice.
Melissa Longo speculates that.
That was my thought after reading it. So.
That's cool.
Very good. Everybody at home, let us know, how excited are you for the Section 31 TV movie event? And would you like it to be an origin story that takes place in the Mirror Universe? Or would you like it to take place basically around the time of Discovery seasons 1 and 2? Or in the 33rd century, Discovery seasons 3, 4, and presumably 5? Where would you like this to take place?
I have a question. I don't know if any of you guys know this. When they first mentioned Section 31 back in 2019 or whatever it was, I think they said that Bo-Yeon Kim and Erica Lippold were going to be the showrunners for it, right? Is that
Really?
is that still the case now for this new movie event, or have they moved on to other projects?
I don't know. I saw Bo-Young Kim on the picket line.
Yeah, I saw she's been tweeting about it. Yeah.
She's
I
Yeah.
think I remember them mentioning who the head writer or who the script was written by, and it didn't have those names.
Right. Yeah. It was. I don't remember who's well, here. Let's look it up.
Yep.
Section 31 movie. But yeah, it's not.
I could be misremembering, because I thought it was the two of them who were going to do it back as of 2019, but maybe I'm misremembering that.
Right. It's Craig Sweeney serves as writer and executive producer. Olatunde O will direct and executive produce. So those are the two kind of people spearheading it, it seems. But Craig Sweeney wasn't the only writer. Usually they have like 2 or 3 people, right? Written by Craig Sweeney. No, it does seem like it might just be Craig Sweeney. Obviously, Alex Kurtzman also may have entered in some input or something. Are you finding anything else?
For the projects, yeah.
But I mean, it is just a film, so there could be just one credited writer, but other people maybe ghostwrite or rewrite or add stuff to it.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
It's mentioning and Aaron Bears as well.
He's a producer.
Okay.
He produced a lot of the Star Trek shows.
Okay. So that's the answer to that until next week.
Oh, sorry. I found an old article.
It's going to change again in a week, probably.
Yeah. I found an old article saying that the show had lead writers Bo-Yeon Kim and Erica Lippold. So that was apparently the plan a long time ago. I guess it changed.
For TV. Oh, man. You got to feel sorry for them.
I mean, maybe they may have another project and they turn it down. That's my hope, is that's
Let's hope. Yeah. Because can you imagine if you were going to have a series and then they say, you know what, we're going to make it a movie. So bye.
Oh my gosh. That'd be
Thank
terrible.
you, though. Thank you, though.
But hadn't they moved on before, kind of early on in Discovery? Erica and Bo-Young Kim, didn't they?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Thought they had moved on to something else, but.
All right. Speaking of moving on to something else, everybody, this is from a website called screenrant.com. This article is written by somebody named, there's going to be a noise that's going to come out of some of the people in the live chat. This article was written by Dusty Stowe.
Oh. Sorry. Looking forward to the John Orchiola reveal.
Yeah. It is entitled Star Trek Legacy, Everything We Know. Star Trek Picard may have come to an end, but the potential adventures of Starfleet in the 25th century could still continue in Star Trek Legacy.
No offense to Dusty, by the way.
Mohammed, would you like to read a little bit for us?
Sure. Star Trek Picard may have come to an end, but the potential adventures of Starfleet in the 25th century could still continue in Star Trek Legacy. Terry Matalas, who is the showrunner for Picard Season 3, has made it clear he'd love to keep telling stories in this particular corner of the Star Trek universe. Critical and fan reception to Picard Season 3 was strong, so it makes sense for Matalas, that makes sense that Matalas could get another crack at the whip. Whoosh.
Wow. Added sound effects and everything.
We've upped our budget.
And we're going to skip ahead to where it says which Picard actors will return in Star Trek Legacy. I think we probably mean would return, because we don't know if it's locked in just yet. In fact, everybody's saying, some of them with a little wry smirk are saying, no, that's not confirmed yet, but it seems like some of them know a little bit more than what they're telling us, as in probably that it isn't confirmed, but they feel like it could very well be at some point.
Can I just interject Faith Howell's comment? Grr, Dusty.
Oh, is she, when she hears Dusty Stowe's name, she's like, grr,
Grr.
yum. He sounds cute.
He always has the top 10.
Yeah. John, we've read a couple of his top 10 lists on Star Trek and Chill. And I don't know if you've noticed, but not one person will ever agree with somebody else's top 10 list. It's an impossibility. So we read them occasionally, and people get pretty riled up about them, except for those of us that know that you will never have the same top 10 list as somebody else. Have you ever written a top 10 list for Screen Rant, John?
Oh, I sure have. I've done my share.
Huh.
Dusty is one of my writers. He's a very, very good writer. He's very knowledgeable about Star Trek. I don't always agree with his opinions, but
you're not supposed to.
It's his list, so he's allowed to express it and rank him how he's fit.
And he certainly elicits reactions.
He does
in his lists, which
even
I love
when I read them.
Hey, Mohammed. Yeah, we lost you for a second. We were just talking about top 10 lists. We actually are going to have a top 10 list of top 10 lists. Stay tuned for next week. That was a lie.
It's gonna be a favorite guest to appear on the main viewer.
So yeah, let's talk about very quickly which Picard actors will return in Star Trek Legacy, please.
Sure. Hopefully I don't crash again. That was very strange how my Zoom just like kicked out all of a sudden. Many of the key players from Star Trek Picard Season 3 would likely return for Star Trek Legacy. Captain Seven is in place, as is her first officer and former lover, Commander Rafi Musiker. Lieutenant Sidney LaForge remains at the USS Enterprise G's helm, while Jean-Luc Picard's son, Ensign Jack Crusher, is on board as the Enterprise G's special counselor to the captain. The bridge crew and supporting cast of the Enterprise G are all in place, and Star Trek The Next Generation's legacy cast have all stated their enthusiasm to reprise their roles. The occasional guest appearance from the likes of Geordi LaForge or Will Riker in Star Trek Legacy would be more than welcome.
As you were reading that, I was thinking they really need to fill out that group. I mean, we obviously know there's a little bit of the bridge crew. They're going to be like 2, 3, 4 familiar faces from the bridge crew. They're mostly going to be just, like the Detmers of the show, most likely, where they're going to have a couple lines here and there. They're going to be manning the con, but they might not be part of the senior staff or, whatever. They can't all be ensign senior staffs, like for some reason Jack Crusher is going to be. So what I was thinking was, lately it seems like Star Trek likes to fill out your cast with recognizable character names. Like Strange New Worlds only brought in like 2 or 3 new characters. It was mostly characters we already knew. I'm hoping that Legacy does not do that. I want to meet 5 new characters. I want to meet a Bolian security officer. I want to meet, an Andorian doctor. And, I just want them to fill it out with characters we've never seen before, because Legacy is already going to be bringing in, theoretically, all of these characters we already know when they go visit Deep Space Nine, or when they go save, Tom Paris from an angry, whatever, Klingon. Yeah. And so they're going to be doing that. So we're going to see all the familiar faces we want in the storylines. So as far as part of the crew, I hope it's, I hope they just give us new people. That'd be great.
Like Ensign Esmar.
Well, Ensign Esmar is going to be certainly part of it, what I was saying, like the bridge crew.
Mhm.
Right.
Esmar, Mura, Tavine
There-
died.
There are a
Mhm.
couple of slots open. They need a new science officer. We need to find out
Mhm.
who the chief engineer is, if it's Alondra or not, and if it isn't, why not? And sure, they need a new transporter chief because the old one became a changeling and was killed.
Right?
Lieutenant Kyle. Oh, he would be very old.
My idea was the changeling that replaced him should apply for the job. He should be like, dude, I'm really good at this. I know this technology backwards and forwards. Like I'm reformed. Just hire me. I'm a
Right.
great transporter chief.
I know what I'm doing. Just
And I
give me
really
a
look like the
chance.
guy.
Yeah. In fact, I can seep into the technology and check it for you.
Hang on. This is actually a really important section in this article. Let's read this other part because this really piques my interest. And it's not PEEK or PEAK. It's PIQUE, I believe. Which in French just means like poke or sting. Piqué. When Star Trek Legacy could release on Paramount Plus. This is important for us to get, an assumed timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Can we read?
Might as well.
Okay. Paramount Plus has, I wasn't sure if you were going to summarize something from it. Paramount Plus has a full slate of Star Trek content on the horizon. The popular Star Trek Strange New Worlds has been renewed for season 3, even before season 2 airs, while animated shows Star Trek Lower Decks and Star Trek Prodigy continue production as well. While Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Discovery may be ending, those holes are quickly being filled with the likes of the recently announced Star Trek Starfleet Academy series and Michelle Yeoh's Star Trek Section 31 movie. Paramount likely understands the demand for Star Trek Legacy. Star Trek Picard Season 3 was arguably the most successful Star Trek project since the franchise returned to television in 2017. And fans clearly have an affection for the cast and crew of the Star Trek series of the 1990s that Picard so deftly honored. When and if Star Trek Legacy happens will come down to mundane considerations like time, money, and resources, with a series debut unlikely before 2025. However, after Picard Season 3's rapturous response, Paramount would be pretty foolish to pass up an opportunity for a spin-off with built-in viewer goodwill like Star Trek Legacy.
I think that's fair. And I
Yeah.
think if they said it's coming out in summer of 2025, basically a little more than 2 years from now, I think we would say that's very reasonable and we're perfectly excited about that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the writer's strike impacts Legacy as well because
Big time.
yeah. So I mean, if it was going to be announced anytime soon, it's probably going to be pushed back. So
By the way, for anybody who's on the East Coast, they just announced for Raleigh's GalaxyCon, which happens at the end of July, that Terry Natalis will be a guest there.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of Star Trek actors who are coming as well.
You should be there.
Nice.
It's in your
I've
neighborhood.
already signed up.
Nice.
I mean, for me, it's like
Excellent.
it's like a 40-minute drive. Of course I'm going, but
All right, so we are running low on time, so let's do a couple quick hits. Number one is from The Hollywood Reporter. Queer cast and crew members behind Paramount Plus's Star Trek Discovery to be honored during Pride Month. The actors and producers will accept Outright International's Outspoken Award, dedicated to significant leadership and allyship on behalf of the LGBTIQ community in New York in June. So everybody go check that out. That is thehollywoodreporter.com. And that's going to be in New York. So if you're in the New York area, that is something that you can be a part of which you can be a part. That was Wilson Cruz that tweeted that out initially for us to find it. So thank you to Wilson for letting it be known, because I don't usually check the Hollywood Reporter.
Awesome.
actually, guys, John, a
Also,
question.
yeah, please.
John, how do you decide what things to follow?
Me?
Yeah.
How do I decide?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, well, in the sense of like the Hollywood Reporter had a relevant article, but like you actually have to keep up on all these things for your content. How do you like prioritize what you're following?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of days where there's lots of stuff going on. It boils down to a lot of it is knowing our audience, the Screen Rant audience, and what they're interested in reading about, what they click, what's trending on Google plays a big factor in it. What has worked before, we know our numbers in terms of what articles have hit, and we try to, hey, if this one did 100,000 K, well, let's try to do another one similar to it. And it's also what the relevant topics of the day are. That one actually flew under my radar.
Oh.
So yeah, so that was news to me. That's awesome, and I love that Discovery is a show that actually garners a lot of awards. They don't get a lot of press about. Like obviously they're such an inclusive show. They do so much for the LGBT community with representation, and they're recognized for that, but they don't get a whole lot of press about it comparatively.
I also want to issue a correction that I was talking about, practically a rant about how if Star Trek Legacy happens, that I want to see all these new faces. And then what was the first thing I said? Like Lieutenant Kyle. I'm such a sucker. I totally fall for it too. I love seeing all the faces. We're all the same. Like, we say we want new characters, but if they say, bring it back so-and-so, you're like, yeah, awesome.
We'll get a young Chief O'Brien.
Blimey. So
funny if they had that in some
another
show.
quickie here is at trekmovie.com. William Shatner is mission control for Fox summer celebrity reality series Stars on Mars. Just very quickly, the Fox network has announced a new reality competition series called Stars on Mars, which will debut on June 5th with William Shatner serving as mission control for the series. The show puts a group of celebrities into a simulation of Mars where they will compete to become the final celebranaut. You lost me at simulation. Sorry.
Well, I thought you lost you at celebranaut.
That's what I thought you were going to say too.
You lost me at reality TV.
But he's 92. Wow.
I know.
This guy.
How old my grandma is.
He's also going to the Raleigh GalaxyCon.
Oh,
yeah.
He's jogging the whole way there too, from LA.
Yeah, maybe so.
From Burbank.
I knew a little bit about Stars on Mars. My friend Daniel works for Fox. He works for Fox Marketing, and he brought the show to me because of Shatner. So my understanding of how the show works is Shatner is mission control. He is the guy who's overseeing all the celebranauts. And so I think they're in a desert somewhere, maybe Arizona. And the whole idea is that they have to simulate like they're on Mars, which means that if they go outside, they have to be into spacesuits. They have to do everything the way you would if you were on Mars. And William Shatner guides them, but also evaluates them and tells them what they're doing wrong. Because, obviously, as Captain Kirk, he wore spacesuits all the time and knows all kinds of things about going to Mars.
Yeah.
He only went to flat 10 planets.
Anne Marie in the live chat says, OMG, I'm obsessed with this reality show. Anne Marie, the winner doesn't get William Shatner.
She's going to sneak on and wear a spacesuit, and she'll be a celebranaut.
She says, I think they filmed in Australia. They've got a lot of desert to choose from there.
Yeah.
From which
Australia,
to choose.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I knew started with an A.
Treacherous.
All right. So we've got a couple minutes left. So we're going to speed through. Everybody's clamoring for it. Twitter Tuesday. Here it comes. And it goes a little something like this. Do you know who the Benson sisters are?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Julie and Shauna Benson of Star Trek Prodigy. They are all over this WGA picket line stuff. Julie Benson tweets out, Shauna Benson and I are live streaming from the WGA West Netflix strike line on Twitch. So everybody make sure you are following the Benson sisters at the Julie Benson or at Shauna Benson. And you can see what they're doing live. I mean, unless it's like during our live show, then I don't know. Maybe don't. You can still, but let's see. What's the next one? Well, there's one tweet that's gone already. It's weird when people take down their tweets. Here's one. Somebody surmised what Data, it's an actor, what Data would look like under his skin. Do you guys want to see Data's skull? Goes a little something like this. Here it is. It is somebody named @SaltyBretzel. I was watching Picard, awesome, and always wondering what Data looks like under his skin. So did this. I based it on old TNG episodes where they open his various hatches, and he shot in First Contact, trying to keep the TNG aesthetic. Wow, smart.
Ooh.
Yeah, because remember he has all those lights beeping
Yeah,
around. Why do you need lights under your skin? Nobody's gonna see it. So weird.
They're diagnostic. Then you can open up and be like, oh yeah, that one's functioning. I'm just making that up.
But that's pretty cool. Matt Boardman, this one's for you. Good artistry here. All right.
Faith Howell wrote, well, that can't be unseen.
Also, Jin Maley says in an Instagram post, when Terry Metalis gave me the gift of claiming the captain's chair, he said, this is going to be on your reel forever. Not wrong. That's pretty cool. That is a great thing to say for him, and a great thing for Jin to realize, and for that to sink in. You know what I mean? To actually think, wow, I'm actually going to have for the rest of my life on my reel a shot of me in the captain's chair. That's pretty cool. And Terry Metalis gets a screenshot of that and tweets it out, says SMAR forever. Very cool. And by the way, Jin Maley, friend of Virtual TrekCon and the Seventh Rule. And let's see, lastly on Twitter Tuesday. Oh, here's a fun one. The Voyager documentary tweeted out recently, and by recently, I mean, you know, today. Join us on June 13th. The panel will cover how the Voyager documentary is being made from conception to completion. It will cover the why, the crowdfunding element, pre-production, post-production, and distribution. Event registration link right here. You can follow the Voyager documentary at Voy Documentary. That's at Voy Documentary. It's B&H Presents and hosted by SanDisk. If you remember SanDisk, they make cool things. And they definitely help out sometimes when things need to be helped.
Well, Ryan, so that should be on that broadcast.
Well, the mystery answer is no. Nah, I don't think so. I believe it will be our two producer editors, that is Joe Kornbrot and Luke Snalem, as well as our executive producer, co-director, David F. Zappone. I believe those will be the three on that one. So check it out. They're all funnier than I am, everybody. So you're going to love it.
Funnier than you part.
Right.
Hey, Mohammed, I got a question for you. I've got a trivia question for you. My trivia question is, does Mohammed have a trivia question for us? Mohammed, what's the answer?
I do. It's not a very hard one because people were complaining last time about the last one being really hard, even though a lot of people got it. So this one's a little bit easier.
I feel so powerful when I can answer them.
Yeah, this one you might be able to answer. See, this is a fairly straightforward one, but it's still trivia. So one of our favorite characters from Deep Space Nine was, of course, Dr. Bashir. I love Dr. Bashir. It was very cool. It was played adeptly by Alexander Siddig. However, in season 1, that was not what his name was in the credits. What was his name in the credits of season 1? And you have to spell it right.
Oh, I know this one, and I'm going to put it in the live chat right now. So I'm not in the live chat. Sorry, in the Zoom chat.
Oh, yes.
Is this correct, Mohammed?
And you spelled it correctly too. Good job.
Oh, I'm the greatest. God, I love myself so much, which is probably obvious. All right.
Oh.
Well, I don't want to give it away, but there was a,
Yeah, I'm not sure about the one punctuational thing in there. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
that
about
was the
I'm not
question.
sure about that. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
that
it's
I'm not
right.
sure. Is it? Okay, I wasn't sure if that was
I
there or
think
not.
it's right.
I see people
I
in the
can't
chat have it
remember
both
seeing
ways.
Oh, both ways? Okay. So that
the
means
chat
they
have it.
must have seen it somewhere like that. All right. So let's talk about this week before we get on out of here and have a freaking amazing week. So yesterday, the Seventh Rule released our full review of the Next Generation Season 1 episode, Too Short a Season. That's 25 episode season. It's fine, but Too Short a Season. That is the one with that old Jameson guy that kept talking about Jameson and made you like want to drink whiskey.
Party in the temple.
Of course, Denise Crosby is there with us, myself and Sirach Lofton. Go check that out. The full review, the kids call it reaction. The full reaction is available right now on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. Also, tomorrow, Wednesday, go to the Falling Tower YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got our premiere of the very next installment of Fantasy Month. Fantasy Month. How will we ever find a good fantasy show to review? Well, Faith Howell, if you're still in the live chat, this one is for you, Faith Howell. We are doing The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings and fantasy fan, but I've never seen The Rings of Power because I saved it for this month. It wasn't easy.
Nice.
Importantly, that one is with very special guest Ryan T. Husk interviewed, actually.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're going to love the special guest, you guys. So go check that out. That is Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Falling Tower YouTube channel. Then on Friday, right here on this channel, the Virtual TrekCon channel at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we will have, darn it, I should have confirmed this guest so that we could announce it right now. Can't do it. But we will have Star Trek and Chill at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live. Theoretically, we will have a very special guest from a new Star Trek series. That is one post 2017. That is, I think, a cult classic. You know, as the street said, cult classic, not bestseller. So it's a cult classic character and a really cool, amazing, wonderful human being. You're going to love this person. And that is Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Star Trek and Chill. Then on Sunday, on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, that is at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon Eastern Time. What do we got? Let me look over at my notes here. Okay. It is going to be Next Generation episode, The Arsenal of Freedom. Remember the Arsenal of Freedom? The one with those like drones are flying around shooting at people. That's like the only episode of the original of the first season, other than the first episode, that I really remember pretty well from watching it as a kid. Because I feel like that one was always on. So check that out. That's going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. That's it. That's our week. John Orchiola, thanks for playing with us. Okay. Oh, wait. Whoa.
Does it show up? It doesn't show up. Hang on. We have to turn off my
We
background.
need the answer.
Actually, I went through and actually played Deep Space Nine to get to this point to see it. I want to make sure that I didn't get it spelled wrong. Yeah. Did it show up there?
Yep.
Yep.
There's the right answer. Notice there's no
That's it.
dash there. There was
No
some
dash.
debate
No
whether
dash.
it
Yeah.
has the dash in it or not. Siddig El Fadil, for anybody who can't read it. But I think he said that was too hard for people to pronounce. So he was like, forget it. I'll just go with Alexander Siddig.
Yeah, and I think he changed it in season 4.
Was it that late? I thought it was,
I think
much
so.
earlier.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
maybe in season 3, but I definitely remember season 4 when they had the new intro with the upbeat music.
Mhm. Good stuff.
And then finally he was just like, okay, can you guys just say Sid? And they're like, yeah, Sid, I can do that. Okay, just call me Sid. Jeez, you guys, it's not that hard.
Sid.
Oh,
Yeah, I
someone was
just
asking in
remember
the
seeing
chat.
that.
Yeah, he was born in Sudan. That's where that comes from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sudanese.
And his full name is incredible.
Yeah.
Is very long.
I remember him saying it
Okay,
at a convention.
let's read it out. Sid's name is Siddig El Tahir El Fadil El Siddig Abdurrahman Muhammad Ahmed Abdel Karim El Mahdi.
Wow.
That was very Arab. Yeah.
All right, Melissa, pop quiz. What was his full name?
I have to say them all.
Sid.
Sid.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, John, where can everybody find you online besides, of course, your amazing writings covering Star Trek on screenrant.com?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Back of the Head.
And what
Good
about
person
you,
to follow.
Melissa Longo?
At the Introverted Republic.com. Walking Art Made by Melissa is there. Also, Melissa Longo on social media and on Patreon, Walking Art Made by Melissa.
That's a new one.
It is new.
Muhammad, guess what I'm about to ask you?
Where you can find me? The main viewer, of course, on the Falling Tower.
course.
I messed it up right there too. Virtual TrekCon is the main viewer. Anyway, no, but on socials at Mafnoor, MAF like Frank, and like November OOR. It's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. And on YouTube is BioTrekkie, BIOTREKKIE. But it's not as fun to follow as at Ryan TG Husk on Twitter. That's a better follow.
Yeah. You're just saying that because it's true. No, I'm just kidding. I like that it took us 90 minutes, but we finally stumped Muhammad. He said, Falling Towers, main view. Wait, what the heck?
Where am I?
So everybody, you can follow me on Twitter at RyanTGHusk, at RyanTGHusk, or Virtual TrekCon, Falling Tower, or the Seventh Rule on your favorite social media and YouTube. Lots of good stuff.
Support his store.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, get your very own family something or other. These things are going to be featured in the next couple weeks, everybody. So go check out your favorite item that you'd like. If you're not 100% sure you want to get it right now, just put it like in the cart and wait a little while and see what pops up in the next few days or so. Well, thank you and goodbye to BL, Donnie, Dave, DJ, Kitty Cat Rico, E. Anderson. What's the E stand for? Just like ET, it's Elliot. Dave Gregory, Bob D, May Borello, Chuck A, Anne Marie, Faith, Chuck. Did we say Chuck? Lisa Mackey in Montreal. I always want to say Toronto, Montreal. Faith Howell, I hope you enjoyed the Lord of the Rings talk. She says, yes, I'll be there. I see it now. Thanks to everybody for hanging out with us. It's been a great time. I texted the person that we wanted to confirm. They did not respond yet. So we'll be announcing, well, I guess we'll announce it tomorrow. But you do not want to miss this. Star Trek and Chill with a very special guest who's an amazing human being. Make your guesses in the live chat right now as we say goodbye. All right, everybody, if you like WGA Writers' Strike coverage and Star Trek talk, put it on the main viewer.